want to show you how to make these adorable zipper bags that are perfect for a Kindle. So here is my Kindle, and in my free design that you can find on my Patreon, you will see that there are two types. The first type is this design where it has, let's see if you can see the hearts. They have this heart quilting pattern, just like this. And of course, it does not come personalized versus it's easy to personalize. So for example, here is my second one. This is the second quilting pattern. It is more traditional diamond looking. And in this video, I'm gonna show you how you can personalize it if you have embroidery software. So it is fully lined. So if you open them up, you will see that they are fully lined inside, just like so. And they are perfect for a Kindle. So like it is, all you gotta do is go like that, zip it up, and you have this cute little zipper bag for a Kindle. And it is so easy to do. We do 100% of this in the embroidery hoop. And I just love the look. So let's begin. Before heading to your craft room, you can personalize your Kindle zipper bag using embroidery software such as myself, which I'm using Brilliance here. You're going to open up the second embroidery file, and it's going to be labeled 2-point Prairie Chic Patterns Kindle Zipper Bag. And if you want to add a name or a design, make sure you have it between these two purple lines right here. I also suggest having it at least a 1/2 inch, maybe even more, away from this edge right here. You also have to have it below this zipper line right here, this one that is like an orange color. So I am going to just type the word Kindle, and I like that. It is automatically in the center. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go like that, and I'm going to put it where I want it, and I want it about right up there. I want it on the top. Okay, the other important thing that you need to know is that your personalization has to come after stitch 5. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so this has to come in between 5 and 6. So I'm just going to take this and move it after 5. So I have to move it one more earlier. Okay. Oh, that is not what I want to do. I'm putting Control Z. Control Z. I'm going to start over. Okay. I want to move it right after 5. There we go. So here's 5. Then this will become my newest stitch. And then I'll go back to the original file design right there. So that looks really good. I just want to make sure that the colors are different. So there will be a color stop. So the color to me is sky blue. Okay, perfect. And then this, okay, yeah, that looks good. So I'm going to save it and then bring it to my craft room and begin designing the bag itself. To make this project, you will need poly mesh embroidery stabilizer. You'll also need tearaway stabilizer, but that's for hoop 3. So the first 2 hoops will use this poly mesh. You will need 4 pieces of layer cake fabric. I'm using this one from Raleigh Blake. It's about, I think it's the Beauty and the Beast one. And you will also need 2 pieces of batting. I am using high loft batting for this project. All right, so I already have, oh, also you'll need a zipper. I should probably grab that. I'll get that later. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna do is stitch our first hoop and bring it over to our embroidery machine, or sorry, we're gonna hoop the stabilizer in our first hoop and bring it over and stitch our first stitch, which is the placement stitch. It's stitch out the placement stitch, which I know is a little hard to see. And before I forget, this design does fit in a 6 by 10 inch hoop. However, I don't have one of those, so I'm using my 8 by 12. You can go larger, but you can't go smaller. So 6 by 10 is the minimum. So I'm gonna take my high loft batting and place it over the stitches carefully. This is a little close to the edges. Because I'm using high loft, I am going to use just this water-soluble stabilizer. In fact, it's my last of it, so I might have to use tearaway stabilizer on top of it next. I just do this so that my needle doesn't get stuck in this batting fabric. All right, I'm just gonna hold it down and take it to the machine and stitch the next stitch. If you're using high loft batting like mine and you use this top wash away stabilizer, I recommend you just tearing it off just like so. I know it's very wasteful, but I just don't want my needle to get stuck underneath it. So, all right, it does come off super easy. There we go. Okay. All right, now grab your exterior fabric piece. And this project, again, goes so well with layer cake fabric. And you are just going to line it up so that it covers those placement stitches. And I just hold it, and it's going to do a rectangle stitch, and then it'll start doing the quilting. It is all done stitching the diamond quilting pattern up top. And so what I'm gonna do is remove it from the hoop and just trim about a 1/4 seam allowance all around the design. The first panel is all done for my exterior fabric. I just love using the embroidery machine to do top stitching like this. It's just looks so perfect. And I do love the extra batting because it gives it more of like a puffier look. All right, so I had to do this same exact hoop one more time to get the back. And then I'm not gonna show that on camera because I already showed you how to do it. So just know that you do what I just did twice. Both of my exterior panels are completed, and again, I just love this kind of traditional diamond pattern, and with the extra high piled batting, it just gives us this cute, beautiful puffy look. So I'm gonna put those to the side for right now. I have my third hoop technically. I have my tearaway stabilizer hooped in this embroidery hoop. And I'm going to take it out to the machine and run the first stitch, which is the placement stitch for hoop number 3. The placement stitch is done, and so this is what it looks like when it is vertical. And this is a 1-inch stitch, or excuse me, this is a 1-inch rectangle box right here, and that's purposeful because it is for the zipper. And you'll see that it goes past these lines. I do that also purposefully, but I do want to pay close attention right here where you see this 1-inch gap right here with nothing. That's where we're going to put our tape for how we tape our zipper down. So here is my 1-inch width zipper, and I am going to line it up perfectly in that rectangle box, grab some tape, and tape it down. I will also hold it down while I'm at the machine, and I'm actually going to do the next 2 stitches on the machine. And I'll tell you why. One second while I get this one done. There we go. Okay. All right, so the next stitch is going to be stitching this side where it'll go down here and stitch like that. Then it'll stop. It'll do a color stop. And then I'll move the needle over here, and then it'll go down this row. Okay, so I'm going to do the next 2 stitches at the machine. My zipper is tacked down. And now I'm going to take the hoop and I'm going to flip it over. And I'm going to pay close attention to the bottom of the zipper line right here. I'm going to take my liner piece. If it is directional, I encourage you to lay it up front or lay it up right side up, so see how you want it. So pretend this is directional. Let's say, I know it's not. It is not directional. Like, it doesn't matter how I lay this one, but let's pretend it is. I want it to look like this. What you're going to do is take the bottom and flip it up like this. So now the wrong side is facing up. And then you are just going to bring it down so that it goes past the bottom of the zipper line. Just like so. And you want to make sure that everything is straight. And you are going to secure with tape. carefully flip the hoop over. We want to make sure that the liner stays up like this because we don't want to have this down here where it'll get caught in my stitches. Believe me, I've done that before. It's not fun. Grab one of your panels, and if it's directional, again, align it how you would like to see it. So let's pretend this is how I want it. Take the bottom and flip it over, and then carefully align it to the bottom of the stitch, or excuse me, of the zipper, and secure with tape. So then it's going to do one line right here over that same spot where we tacked on the zipper. Okay, so I'm going to carefully take it over to the machine and run the next stitch. So I'm going to take the tape off right here. It's no longer needed. And I'm going to carefully bend this panel down, just like so. It looks amazing. And I'm going to run the next stitch. This next stitch will go from here to about here to here, and it will tack this front panel down. Make sure this stays up here, so this liner is not underneath where I am stitching. So now this is tacked down. I'm actually going to turn my liner over, and I'm going to remove this tape because I don't want it to get stuck on my machine when I'm doing my personalization. However, I will be extra mindful of keeping this up like this and away from this side. Okay. Let me flip it over one more time. All right, I'm going to go find so I'm writing Kindle right here. I'm going to go find I think maybe a blue of some sort. I think that will stand out really nicely for this. Anyways, the next step, of course, again, is completely optional, but I am going to put Kindle right here. So I'm going to go do that at the machine. The personalization stitched out beautifully. Again, this is not included with the free design. You'd have to buy your own font and, of course, add it if you want. All right, so I'm going to turn my hoop over. I'm going to take my liner, which, of course, I had up here while this was stitching, and I'm going to bring it all the way down so that the right side is facing up. And I am going to carefully put tape right here, and the next stitch is going to tack it down. The lining is tacked down. I'm going to leave my tape here because I do not want this to get bunched up here. I've done it before, so I just want to keep it nice and neat. So then I'm going to flip it over again, and this step is so important. I one time forgot to do this, and it was a pain because I had to try to open it up. So it's so important right now. You need to open up the zipper, and I suggest opening up the zipper to about, so here is my final boundary line, basically right here. So I'm gonna just open it up to about right there. Okay, so important you do that. If you don't do that, you will not be able to flip the design out. Okay, all right, grab your second panel piece, and you are going to line up the top with the top of this, keeping it as straight as possible. And then just tape it down. All right, I'm gonna take it to the machine, and it's gonna do just one giant rectangular stitch. We have one final stitch to do in the embroidery machine. So here is what it looks like so far with the back panel. Okay, so of course, wrong side is facing up here. So like the right sides are facing each other. Flip it over. And as you can see right now, right side is facing up. Okay, take your final piece and have the wrong side facing up, and move the top of this past the top line of the placement stitch for the zipper. Secure with tape. Take it to the embroidery machine for the final stitch. All right, it's time to remove all of the tape and take it out of the hoop. After you remove it from the hoop, carefully tear away the stabilizer. Once you have done that, trim around the bag, leaving about a 1/4 inch seam allowance on all sides. I've trimmed around here. I'm just going to trim at the top a little bit. Just about a 1/4 seam allowance. Okay. Now find the bottom. So here's the bottom. And you'll see that two pieces, the exterior pieces, are sandwiched together. Hold the liner like this and cut off the excess exterior fabric to just remove some of that bulk. Okay, so now find that gaping hole. Okay, so it's like right there. See where the end stitches are. I like to go diagonal like this, and then diagonal like this, and then remove that little diagonal or a triangle. Okay. All right, that looks pretty good. All right, I'm gonna trim a little bit more of this because it doesn't need to be that long. There we go. Then you are going to turn the bag right side out by gently pulling it through the opening in the lining, and use like maybe a stick or of some sort, or maybe the end of a pencil to poke out those corners. It is time to close that gap at the bottom in the lining. Do this by folding in the raw edges of the gap in the lining and secure them with fabric glue. Use wonder clips to hold the seam in place while it dries for about 5 minutes. Once dry, turn the entire bag right side out through the open zipper. That's it. Your Kindle Zipper Bag is all finished. Now you've got a beautifully handmade bag, perfect for your device or gifting to someone special. Thanks for watching. This design is free on my Patreon. Check the link below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow for more creative fun.